Well, welcome and glad you guys are here with us on this beautiful Thursday. This is the last Thursday of May. Can y'all believe we in May? Like, where is the time really going, right? It is moving. It is not waiting for anyone. But this is the last Thursday of the month where we have a grief. So traditionally, every month, we have our grief support. On Thursday, the last Thursday of the month, and we've been doing it since 2018. And this month, the last couple of months, we've been doing an intensive sessions and conversations around grief, loss, caregiving, because there's a lot of people that are hurting. There's a lot of people that are facing a lot of challenges, and Center of Empowerment wants to make sure you know that we are here for you. I am your host, Iris the Inspires, and Center of Empowerment is the host uh, for this session. All righty. With that said, what we're going to do, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. A lot of you will see this later on. And then tonight, as you're coming on as well, we want you to make sure that you share this because it's going to be a very dynamic conversation. We're going to open the chat up where you can at least let us know where you're chiming in from. I see that some of you are starting to come in. But if you can just let us know where you're from in the chat, we greatly appreciate that. But we're going to do what we always do before we do anything. What is that? We're going to take a deep breath. So we want to take a deep inhale. Pause. And on the count of 3, we're going to exhale through the mouth. Yes. It is that breath that reminds us whose and whom's we are. We are the very essence of God in the earth. It's our breath that calls us family. Take another deep inhale. And on the count of 3, you're going to let it through the mouth. Yeah. You can't do that. Of course, we're breathing, but you can't pause and take an intentional breath and it not bring you fully present to the moment, to where you are. And you find some form of gratitude, some form of centering. One more, that'll be 3 breaths for tonight. Come on, take another one. Deep inhale. Hold. And on the count of 3, we're going to exhale slowly through the mouth. All righty. Who is Center of Empowerment? Center of N-I-N, power, M-E-A-N-T, inner power, purpose. We are bridging hope for families that are in transition. We go beyond solutions, but we're offering an opportunity to shift and change the trajectory of your family, your life, and your family's life. And so what does that mean? We affect the 4 pillars of life. That is relationships. That's relationship, our mental relationship, our spiritual relationship, our financial relationship. And so this is where this comes into play, where we are offering these support groups. And now what we've been doing is offering it on YouTube in terms of conversations where you get to ask your questions and still remain anonymous if you so choose to. And get help. Some of the other things that we do is we offer food services. We offer food services throughout the city. We deliver to elderly, those that are chronically ill, and those that are unhoused, and those that just don't have enough money for the month. How about that? Working hard and you don't the money and it's not meeting the need. And so as long as we have food that is available, we distribute it to those that are in need. We also are offering support to we have our OMB grant that is open. So you want to make sure you go to our website at coinpm.org and apply for the grant that is open. And we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But I just want to give you a little bit. We've been around since 2018. So we're not new kids on the block. We've been doing this for a minute. All righty. With that said, I want to welcome Shay to the stage. This young lady, welcome, and glad to have you tonight.
Thank you.
I love her spirit. I've been knowing Shay now for a few years, and I have had the opportunity to work with her one-on-one, and then to it's beautiful when you need to hand or find additional support right? And so being able to get her in an environment of other mothers, parents, um, that to support her. And so I want to say thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for taking the time out to share with the audience. I know you're a little nervous, but that's okay. We're going to make it, we're going to be just like we on the phone, having a conversation, and it's going to be all right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Shay, before we get into the deep part of our conversation, share a little bit, just a little bit about yourself, who you are. Um, yeah,
Um, I'm a 50,
outside of this pretty girl on this camera. No.
I am a 51-year-old mom of 7. I live in California, but I'm originally from Chicago. Um, I
That's
hang
it. That's all. Yeah. Mhm.
I do for them. I've always put them first, but going on this grief walk, I had to learn I needed to put me first because
Mm.
if I'm depressed and in the home, it's making my kids depressed. We can't help each other if we're all depressed. Who gonna help who? We can't.
Mhm.
So I had to step back and look at myself and figure out how was I going to find me again while on this walk that I did not choose to be on.
I like that. How to find me again. Oh, that's good. That's good. The title of one of my books is You Again, but I like that. How to Find Me Again. So let me ask you this. How were you, or how did you get to the place of moving from feeling like you were drowning in grief after um, you're losing your son to a hit and run person? And let me just say, he's a twin. He has a sister, Jade, Orion, and then you have a younger child that's in the home, Skylar, that's 13. So how did you get to that place? Because it didn't start off with understanding how to find me again.
No. What happened for me when I got their phone call about my son being hit? In one ear, the lady was saying, your son Orion got hit by a car. He's not responding. And on the other side, I heard God say, and I took him home. So,
Mm,
hearing those two things, I had to sit down in my mess of grief to figure out, who am I angry at? Am I angry at myself because I was not there? Was it something I could have done different to change the circumstances? Yes, I was angry with God for quite some time, but I had to reflect and tell myself, instead of being angry, I had to thank God for the 14 and a half years that I had with my son. So the more I tell God thank you, the more it makes my faith a lot stronger. Because a lot of moms are
mm.
like, I wouldn't be out of the bed. I can't keep being in the bed because the bed ain't doing nothing for me but putting me in a hole that I will not be able to get out of.
Mhm. That's good. So you said, "Who am I angry at?" And you
Yes.
was angry at God for a long time.
Yes.
How did you walk through and deal with that?
I just kept talking to God and asking God why my son. But then I had to tell myself, whatever the answer was going to be, it wasn't going to be good enough for me because I felt like my son had gotten cheated out of life. But the more I sat and prayed about it, talked to God about it, talked to myself about it, wrote a few things down, I realized that it was beyond my control. It was just my son's time to go back. Um, Going through the different groups of grief, I've learned that my children are just borrowed to me. They don't belong to me. They belong to God, just like we belong to God. So once I started understanding that part of it, it made it a little easier for me to say I needed to get help for myself. because it
Mhm.
had to start with me. Because if my kids see that I'm getting help and reaching out and talking to people, that will make them want to get the help to talk about how they're feeling.
Mhm. Mhm. That's good. So you said you reflected. Let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like and share. Don't forget to like and share it, and let people know that we're on live right now talking to Shay, and she is sharing her story. And if you don't mind putting in the chat, if you have questions, if you hear something that stirs your spirit, make sure you put it in the chat. Listen, you said reflect. Now, let's just say he was 14 when this happened, and this year he would be 16. So this is
No,
a couple of
16.
years.
He's 16
Hmm.
right now. Come October
Uh-huh.
8th, it will be 2 years that he has been passed away.
Okay. Okay. So in that reflection process, in that anger process, because I remember when you were angry,
Yes.
what, because sometimes we feel guilty, right? We're
Yes.
angry, but we feel guilty about the anger. How did you get through that?
I had to keep praying. That's the only thing that helped me is to sit. I had to sit down and really just pray and ask God, why am I so angry at you for taking my son? And if there was something I could have done different to have prevented this, when reality was there was no way for me to avoid what was going to happen. It would have happened that night when he went to school, when he was coming home. There was nothing that I can do about that.
Hmm. Hmm. So you had to get through if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying you had to get through your own personal battle and guilt with if there's something you could have done differently that would have so this would not have happened.
Yes, because for a very long time I did blame myself and was like, I
Hmm.
should have been there. I should have said, no, you can't spend the night. No, you have to come home. But because my son had just entered high school a few months prior, he had made the dean's honor roll as a freshman. I couldn't keep
Hmm.
trying to hold his hand and treat him like he was five because he was growing up and he was showing me that he was very responsible. So
Hmm.
I had to allow him to become a young man. And
Hmm.
I allowed him to do something he asked to do. And I made sure before I went to sleep he was okay. I just didn't expect to get the phone call I got at two
Hmm.
something in the morning.
Hmm. 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 Got it. Yeah. Yeah. So Shay,
Yes,
you say pray.
yes.
Somebody, a mother that's listening right now saying, I prayed. I've asked God, I'm angry. I'm upset. None of that it ain't making me feel no better. It ain't changing it.
At the end of the day, the anger is going to always be there. But if you
Hmm.
keep your faith first, it will get a little easier. I'm not going to say that it's not going to always be sunshine and roses because it's not. Because I have my
Hmm.
days and my moments where I literally break down, but I try when I break down when my kids are at school because I don't want them to see me in that manner because they've seen it for so long when my son first passed. The
Hmm.
emotional roller coaster that I be on, I just shake my head and I look up and just tell God, I thank you. That's all I can
Hmm.
do. And
Hmm.
hold on to all the memories that I have of my son. You know, my son's
Hmm.
been gone almost 2 years. I'm
Hmm.
hearing stories that I never heard before and just be like, ooh, he was doing all of that. I don't even remember. And that's
Hmm.
because I've learned with grief, you lose some of your memory.
Hmm.
And to get the stories, it helps.
Hmm. Hmm. That's good. That's good. I like that. So one of the things is to remember within grief, you do lose. I can attest that you do lose some of your memories. And that's sometimes what we are afraid of. We have our memories, right? We have the things that we remember, but we're also afraid of the fact that I am going to lose, right? The memories. of our loved one, of our child. You know, you said something that to the effect, and we've had a couple of other people on that talked about this shouldn't have happened. How have you dealt with the this shouldn't have happened in the context of grief? I mean, gratitude. Yeah. Yeah.
I go sit down with my therapist every Tuesday and we talk about it. And in the
Mhm,
beginning, talking about my son with a stranger was very hard for me because it's like,
mhm,
you don't know me, you don't even know my son.
mhm,
But I had to come home and pray about it and tell God, if this is what I'm supposed to do to help me on this grief walk, then help me so that I can be open and honest on how I
mhm,
truly feel. Yes, some days in the beginning, I didn't want to be here. I thought
mhm,
about taking my life because I
mhm,
wanted to be in two places with my son and still here with my children.
mhm,
And when my son was in the funeral home, I took pictures of him and me in the picture with him. So I look at those pictures and tell myself, how did you feel seeing him in that casket? If you take your life, how are your children going to feel seeing you in that casket?
mm, mhm, mhm,
I look at those pictures all the time. My son,
mhm,
I was at a funeral, my body was there. I looked at the floor the whole time. Do you know I'm just not looking at the funeral to see what was really going on? Because I wasn't there. I just was
mhm,
there in a shell, just sitting there,
mhm,
not wanting to be there. Because I told myself I wasn't going to show up. I was going to stay
mhm,
home. But then I
mhm,
had to look at my children and be like, I got to be the bigger person for them. I have to be there for them because they're trying to be here for me.
mhm,
I had to take off that super cape
mhm.
and really
And,
just humble
and get
myself.
the help. You know, I like the fact that you say you see a therapist every Tuesday. Y'all hear that? She sees a therapist. She prays. She trusts God. She honors God. And she also sees a therapist. And so it's really, really important because that's one of the things that we talk about. We've been talking about honing in all month with mental health awareness, specifically this month. The importance, you can do two things. Two things can be true at the same time. Right. And so I'm glad that you're sharing that even to this day, you're still seeing to help you unpack and walk through the journey of grief. And would you say that it's not going nowhere?
No, it's not going anywhere. I'm just
Mhm.
learning how to ride the roller coaster.
I love it. There it is. Y'all hear that? Learning how to ride the roller coaster. Are there any questions? Go ahead and put it in the chat if you have any questions. Learning how to ride the roller. What are some of the two? Let me ask you this. I was thinking this when you were talking. What was the hit and run driver ever found?
No,
So how do you deal with that?
this is what I told myself when this first happened. And I knew that the person may not get caught. I just told God, if I don't get no sleep, that person don't get to get no sleep either. And I know for
Mm,
going on 2 years, I've not slept a good sleep unless I take a sleep aid. So if I'm not sleeping, they not sleeping either. And I just tell people what the police can't do, God gonna do it. I'm not worried about it because at the end of the
mhm,
day, they have to stand before God and explain why you hit someone. You didn't even have common courtesy to stop to see if he was okay. You just kept going. My son
mhm,
was found in the street by a young lady who was coming home from work who happened to be a nurse, and
mm,
she stayed with him and kept trying to talk to him. When I got to the hospital, I only went for confirmation because I know what God had already told me. Them doctors
mhm,
came through them double doors. I just looked at them and they was like, I'm sorry. That's all I heard. My daughter, she
mhm,
crying and she's like, Mom, are you okay? The doctors are, Mom, do you want me to do anything? In my head, yeah, get up and go fix my son so I can come pick him up in a couple of days. I knew that
mhm,
wasn't going to happen. I just kept
mhm,
saying, I'm here. I'm
mhm,
here. I still
Mhm.
tell people I'm here. I used to tell
Mhm.
people I was okay until I had to stop lying because I knew
Mhm.
I was not
You
okay.
was not a mhm.
No.
So acknowledging, you had to acknowledge. You had to learn how to acknowledge so you could embrace the pain,
Yes.
to deal with the pain. What would you say about that process when you got to that place of really acknowledging and that this is what it is?
I was hurt.
Mhm.
I didn't think I could hurt the way that I hurt after losing one of my children. And my son was so young, and it was more hard because he was leaving behind a twin sister. And it was like, look, God, my kids came in this world together. They supposed to grow old together, and
Mhm.
you had other plans. I wish you would have let me know a little sooner, but
Right.
that's not how it went. And so,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, I just take
Mhm.
it 1 second at a time, and I'm learning how to live in the moment. Something I've
That's
not
good.
done for many, many years, but I'm doing it now.
Mhm. Mhm. I like that, living in the moment, being present. That's why we do those breaths when we start. And I often advocate, as you know, and those that listen know, I always talk about intentional breath, pausing and getting present to the moment because we get to moving and doing and embracing ourselves for the next thing that we are not really present to ourselves, right? How we feel, um, what we don't feel, what we don't like. We just know it's there and we're numb because we're in survival mode. And so it's really good. It's really good to hear you talk about that. What are some of the things? I know you said therapy is one, prayer is one, um, talking to God, writing. I heard you talk about writing. You know, one of the things we often talk about here is that writing won't hurt you. I know when you and I was working together, I said, just let it come out, let it rip. You know, God is big, bad, bold enough to take whatever it is you feel. Okay, Zoe, whatever it is you feel, you know. So we have writing, therapy, prayer, talking. What are some of the other things that you can say to a struggling parent right now, struggling mother?
They have to learn to sit in it first. That's where
Mm-hmm.
it starts. If you can't sit in it, you're not going to get ahead. You have to sit in the pain that you feel. Until you can do that, all the things that I've already said that I'm doing, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help by a long shot.
And so, what does it mean to sit in the pain?
You have to acknowledge that you are really hurting. And
Mm-hmm.
why are you hurting behind anything? Losing my son, I had to really sit down. I wouldn't come through my house. I would stay in my room. My kids would come in my room to give me breakfast, lunch, dinner, because it was too
Mm-hmm.
many triggers in here. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, I didn't want to be in here, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to move either because this is 14 years of memories in my home. So
Mm-hmm.
now I come out my room, I come downstairs, and I just look at stuff and be like, man, I miss him sitting in my living room playing the PlayStation, and be like, let me go sit and ask him a couple of questions for him to be like, Mom, please, you're messing me up. Can you stop talking?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just sit here. And I miss the little small things with Orion, but I know he's still with me. The one
Mm-hmm.
of the hardest things for me to do is when I decided to pack up his clothes.
Mm-hmm.
My son looked at me and he said, "Can I help?" I don't want your help. Let me do this by myself, please. Because I have to realize I'm not letting him go because that's how I was feeling. If the certain things that I was doing at home, I felt like I was discarding my son and forgetting about him. When I had to tell myself, you're never going to forget him. You're just making room because he's no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're making new memories. And a lot of the memories we've made, I've cried because I keep telling myself, Orion is supposed to be here with us. Or me asking Orion, what'd you do today? For him to say, I don't know. And that was one of his favorite things to say that he started saying in the sixth grade. So everybody be like, what would Orion say? And I would just look at them and be like, now we know the answer to that question. I
Uh,
don't know.
mhm,
That was just him. He was a very smart, handsome young man. I miss him.
mhm,
I miss him a lot.
mhm,
But I knew that if I get the chance to talk more about him, that's helping me on my grief walk because my story can help someone else. It could help another mom that's going through it and she don't even know where to begin.
mhm, mhm. Awesome. Awesome. So you're also a part of some support groups
Yes.
that offer, you want to talk about the support groups, other mothers, and how that's helped you, support you to kind of get through the
Oh,
journey?
these support groups, you get to sit there and be the new person and you're listening to all these stories. And you're
Mhm.
just like, are you sure? I met one mom last year. She was a mom of six and she lost all five of her sons. And I
Wow.
looked at her and I'm like, Miss Linda, how you standing? I just lost
Wow.
one and I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
You lost five of yours. And she looked at
Wow.
me and told me, because of God. And I said, oh, okay, I get it. So
Mhm.
I've learned from other moms how they deal with grief. So I apply a little of that to my life, but I'm also learning for myself because your walk is not the same walk that I'm on. You have a couple of years ahead of me. I'm just 2 years in.
Mhm. Mhm. Love it. I like that. You said you take what you can. It's kind of like the old folks used to say, you don't throw the bathwater out with the baby. So you take the best of what you can, where you are in the process of your journey. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard her talk about dealing with the disbelief that this is happening. Although it happened, there was a certain amount of being numb toward it, the depression of dealing with it, the acceptance. No, we didn't even get to acceptance. The anger, being mad at God. God is big, bad. His shoulders is wide enough. He can take it sometime. And the guilt. You talked about dealing with the guilt. This is awesome. This is really good. And then learning to sit with the pain, acknowledge that you're hurting, right? Because oftentimes we suppress our feelings and our emotions. Because we're in survival mode. We ain't got no time to feel nothing. We got to do what we got to do. So we pretend like we're not hurting. We pretend like we're not depressed, and or we do excessive things like eating, drinking, sexing, spending, and all those other things we do to try to numb the fact, right, that we're just not in a healthy place. This is awesome. And then you started learning. You said you wrote. So I'm giving you guys the tools that she's given out. You started to write therapy. You go to therapy to this day every Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. She said she go to therapy every Tuesday, and that's helped her. It has helped her to unpack it, right? And the fact that you acknowledge it's not going nowhere.
Yes. I
It's not
sit down,
going.
I write Orion letters.
Oh, I
When
like it.
first happened, I was so angry and I was just like, you wasn't supposed to be gone. You did this to me. Why did you have to leave? And now my letters are more of what's been going on, what you're missing, the different things that your siblings are doing, how mom is getting up and going outside a little more. Because when I say I was stuck, I was stuck. You couldn't pay me. I would barely get out my bed to go wash up, do anything, brush my teeth, use the bathroom because I just wanted to be in the bed under covers where I did not exist to nobody.
Mhm, mhm. So really partnering with those that have walked the journey as well, and giving yourself that grace. That was one of the things we often talked about. Is where you are is in this process, in this journey, is okay, and learning how to tell people. This was the other thing I was thinking about you. And you talked about how sometimes the insensitivity of others.
Oh, if we have to go that far, let's go back to when my son first passed. Do you know I had people telling me they were only going to give me a certain amount of time to grieve? And it was just like, what do you mean? I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. People were looking for the old me to be there, to be the shoulder for them. And it was like, I can't be the shoulder. You don't understand. The person you looking for, she in that casket at the cemetery. She's not here. I have to find who I am again. And that is a process for me, because if someone say, who are you? I'm going to just tell you my name, because I
Mm,
can't tell you who I am right now, because honestly, I don't know. People
mhm,
wanted the old access. It's not about you. I'm
mhm,
dealing with something. You should be able to give your shoulder to me for me to holler, scream, cry, whatever. I didn't
mhm,
get that. So I've cut a lot of people off, and I'm okay with it, because
mhm,
it's not about benefiting you. It was, if you're my friend, you would understand if I don't want to answer my phone for 2 months. I'm dealing with something. You're not dealing with it. I am. I'm in a
mhm,
home where I'm walking across a bedroom looking at an empty bed every day. My
mhm,
son ain't coming back.
mhm,
And I know he's not coming back. I've not accepted it all the way, but I'm moving toward learning how to accept it. Because right now I tell myself he on vacation. He gonna be back and he can tell me where he been and what he been doing.
mhm,
And
mhm.
when I can get past that part, then I know my healing journey is going further in the right direction. Because right now, that's where I'm stuck at.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, with all that said, you have anything else, any questions, any comments in the chat? This has been a very dynamic conversation, and I appreciate you. I see you guys are here, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Shay. You have been very transparent, and I appreciate it. I know it is um, touching. Someone is hearing exactly what they need to hear and understand that where they are in their journey is okay,
Yes.
and, and you're a living, breathing witness that you can and will get through it.
Yes.
Any other final words you would like to leave? Any comments in the chat? Anything anybody want to share, ask? So right now you said you are learning to find me again. You're finding you're bouncing back from some of the trauma of grief.
Yes.
And so what does that look like for you now? What would you tell a mother right now? What does that look like?
There is a grief paper with all these different negative words on it. My
Mm-hmm.
therapist gave the paper to me and told me to pick a word and explain why do I feel the way I feel when it comes to that one word. My homework is due on Tuesday. I'm going to pick almost every word on that piece of paper and I'm going to write about it. And that's going to help me to let go of all of the sadness, the frustration, the guilt, all of it. Because at the end of the tunnel, I see a bright light for myself. And me putting me first is the one thing I would tell any mom that's going through this. Put you first. Your kids are going to be there regardless, but you have to take care of you first. And if you've never done it, this is the time to do it.
Awesome. I like that. I like that. What do you can you remember one of the words? What's one of the words?
One of the words is sadness.
Mm,
And I know for a long time I was very sad, but now I wake up and I smile. And I'll just talk to my son and be like, "What's up, Orion? I wish you was at home." And he'll mess with a few things in here to let me know that he floating around or whatever. And sometimes I just be like, "I just wish you stop messing with stuff. Leave stuff alone. I know you here. Just
mhm,
stop." And then I
mhm,
just tell God, "You didn't make no mistake. That's just how
mhm,
I took it in the beginning because I didn't understand."
Mm-hmm.
And now that
Mm-hmm.
I'm understanding it more, I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
see him again, so I'm all right.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I like that. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it straight from Shay's mouth. It is a journey, and she's embracing it. She is acknowledging it, and she's standing flat foot in it. And she shared with the mothers that the first thing, priority, take care of yourself. You got to put that mask on self first, right? So, if you guys, one of the things I do know is you also started work. I know at one point you were going back to the school, working in the school, kind of giving some things back in terms of support or just advocating. Are you still
I
doing
was
that?
a little bit, and I still
Mm-hmm.
go, but because my son is about to graduate and go to high school, I'm just like, ooh, he's getting ready to do all the things that Orion wanted to do. So I'm
That's
preparing.
Skylar.
So I'm
Yeah.
preparing myself for that. Orion didn't get a chance to play football. Skylar's gonna get a chance to play football. So I just look up and just tell God, thank you. You brought me this far and you didn't
Mm-hmm.
leave me. And I know that you're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna leave me. So it's a battle, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna win because I am winning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. How's Jay doing?
Jade is doing okay. She's
Mm-hmm.
doing better than what I expected. In the beginning, it was a little rough because
Mm-hmm.
they had classes together and he would
Mm-hmm.
sit across from her or not that far from her, and that was her voice. So now
Mm-hmm.
she's learning to find her voice where she can speak up for herself. Because I had to tell her, he's not here. What would he tell you to do? You can do this. Stop being scared. It's okay to advocate for yourself because
Mm-hmm.
mom not going to keep coming up to this school talking for you. You can talk. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
now she advocates for herself, and that's a very big thing for her because
Mm-hmm.
Orion spoke for her for 14 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Shay. I appreciate it. Audience, thank you for chiming in. We appreciate you. We are going to give a commercial. Also, don't forget to like, don't forget to share. www.coinpm.org. If you would like to learn some more information, some more of the support groups and the things that are available for you as you go through this journey, don't hesitate to reach out to us. This was a night for those of you that are dead smack in the middle of it, is fresh, is new. You heard from a mother tonight that is sharing from her heart that it is hard, it is difficult, but you will get through it one breath at a time. All right. So we got a commercial for you. Thank you, Shay, for being here.
You're welcome.
And we'll be right back in a few. See you next month. Blessings.